What's up, everybody? I'm Holly.
I'm Tiffany.
And this is the Moms at the Helm pilot episode.
And this one is going to be called The Humble Beginnings.
The Humble Beginnings. So this podcast is going to be monthly for now. The dream is, I think, for both of us that it's more often in the future. But just to get started, we didn't want to go, too crazy. We are moms, as you can tell. So just to start off, it's going to be monthly, so you can look for this once a month. And we wanted to give an idea at the beginning of what you're going to be looking for this episode. So the segments that you're going to see in every episode are the Helm, which is the verse that's going to guide our time together. And then there's always going to be a Galley time, and that is our recipe that we're giving you for that month's episode or whatever that podcast is going through. So that's just going to be an easy recipe that we do as moms. So that every time you watch a podcast of ours, you get to know, hey, I'm going to get a recipe out of this too. And then the other segments that we're going to be doing this month during this episode are Who Are We interviews, the This or That game, and How We Found Our Faith interviews as well. So I'll lead us then into our first segment, which is the Helm. The Helm is, as I mentioned, the scripture, the quote, the devotional that we're going to focus this episode around. And it will steer where the episode goes from there. So the Helm is, for this episode, Job 8:5-7. And that verse is, "But if you pray to God and seek the favor of the Almighty, and if you are pure and live with integrity, He will surely rise up and restore your happy home. And though you started with little, you will end with much." And I kind of picked this one because it's talking about starting with little and ending with much as we start this new podcast together. I thought it was a good one to start off with. And little did I know, Tiff has had a personal relationship with Job this year. So Tiff's going to tell us her experience with Job, too.
Yes, I thought it was hilarious. As soon as you said Job, and I was like, I don't even care what verse you pick. Yes, I am so for it.
I'm in.
I'm game. Yes, Job is my favorite. This year, I decided at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm going to read the Bible this year. I'm going to do it. I haven't done it since I was little. And that's when I was little, You do it with your parents. You're sitting there. You're getting sidetracked. You're looking at the walls and everything else. You don't really understand what you're reading at that point. And so I was like, I need to do this. And I heard something one Sunday. I believe it was something that my preacher was talking about. And he said something about Job. He said a verse, and that connected to me so much. And it just hit me. And I was like, I got to read that. And read all 42 chapters. And I was like, whew, started with a doozy. But I read it, and I was just like, I felt it so much. I was like, I have such a connection, I feel like, with him, with just honestly the pain, the suffering, the staying strong and faithful and knowing God's got your back, even in the storm, even when you feel like there's nothing left, you ain't got nothing left to give. He's still there, and He will pick you up right in that moment. God meets you where you are. And I just loved it so much. And whenever I looked it up, I wanted a brief overview because, like I said, 42 chapters. It's a lot. There's a lot that it goes over. There's so much that can be said. But I just want to give you this brief overview so you have an idea of what we're talking about, what we're looking at. Honestly, a brief overview of just Job. Who is he? What did he go through? So here's his story. The book of Job is a poetic and philosophical exploration of suffering, justice, and the sovereignty of God. It centers on a man named Job who suffers immense loss and questions why the righteous suffer. You think, everybody I think that is not a follower, they have this idea, for whatever reason, that whenever you follow God, whenever you turn your life to God, everything's going to be perfect. It's going to be great. It's going to be smooth sailing. And it's everything but. Because then you get tried, you get tested. The devil pulls at you more than anybody else because now he knows he ain't got you no more. And he's scared. And that's why we suffer so much, because we're striving to live with him forever. And I mean, honestly, it kind of comes with a price, but he paid it already. So, whatever we're going to go through here on earth, not only has he already taken care of us, but he's going to do it with us again and again and again. And I love just how in Job, he never lost faith. He, of course, like anybody else, anybody nowadays, even me, I can't even exempt myself from it. Questions like, God, like, what are you doing? What's going on here? Can you help me out? Can you
Why this?
tell me what's going on? I get it. I'm supposed to trust you, but like,
Give me the spark notes on this.
exactly. Like, you're making it real hard. I need some help. But he's human, like all of us. And we think of people back in the Bible and they, we think of Stone Age times and, oh, they didn't have cancer and they don't have all these diseases we got now. Yeah, but they struggled too, just like we did. And nobody knows that more than God. When he was on the cross, it says that in his very last moments, God took on everyone's sin, so much so where God couldn't even look at him anymore. He couldn't even look at his own son dying because he was filled with all of our sins for generations to come, for the entire world. So, anyway, I feel like Job is a great place, honestly, for anybody that's suffering through anything, health-wise, family-wise, your job.
Financial,
anything you're struggling with, like, honestly, go read Job.
Take a look at Job, yep.
Go take a look at Job. It may, if nothing else, it just may give you a boost of some hope.
Absolutely, yeah.
So with that, with my rambling, we are going to jump in to a fun little segment that we like to call Who Are We? It's going to be an interview. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. All right. So, who were you before Holly, a wife, a mother? Who were you?
Who was I? So all my life, I was very extroverted, very full of energy through high school. In high school, we've talked about this before. I was very, very good academically. Was in like the top 20 of my class, in AP classes, stuff like that. So, very, very involved in school, and I loved school. Lots of people look back and they're like, oh, high school, the worst years. I loved school. I really did. So I was very extroverted and had a lot of fun there. I went to a middle school for singing. Actually, it was a school that you had to audition to get into. I don't even know if I've ever told you this before.
I think you told me once and I forgot. That's
okay, there
crazy.
you go. And it was like for singing or art or dance or even like martial arts, like any kind of art, if you could audition to get into it. And so that was from the 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. And what was cool about that school is we started in the 6th grade. It was only 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then they added 7th and they added 8th as we went. And so those years were really formative to me to make me very like extroverted because I was always the man in charge. We were the oldest in the 5th grade too, in elementary school. Oldest kids until we got to high school. And it was also a very small school. There was one 7th grade class, it was us. It was the 20 of us or whatever. So I had a very small group. And in that time, I had some close friends and we do Bible studies and stuff. And so my faith was going on then as well, but we'll get to that more later. So then I got to high school and it was crazy because now we're in this huge high school and I'm like, wow, this is different than just my little
big.
And because the school was new in beginning, I'm sure that the academics, the principals who started it would cringe to hear me say this out loud. But the first like year or two, there was like not a lot of education going on. There was a lot of Neopets we were playing on the computers and Maysville or something like that. Yeoville.
Cityville, Farmville.
Yes. We were playing a lot of games and walking around barefoot. Like there was no rules. They were like, we just are glad you guys are here. And it was so fun. So that really created a lot. I was already really creative, but created even more creativity in me. There was one class I think was like art exploration, and you just got to spend the whole time like in the art room, just using whatever materials you wanted within reason, not making a mess but it just like really fostered this creativity in me. And I, to this day, would not call myself an artist. My siblings are artists, and they really are.
Did they go to the same school?
My brother did. Actually, yeah, they both did.
Okay,
I forgot.
okay,
Paige is 12 years younger than me, so she didn't go anytime around when I went. But
gotcha.
She did also go and basically followed in my footsteps there. But yeah, they both are physical artists as well. And Paige can also sing. But I am more of the creative, like crafting with the pens like that we were making for Toby and more of the creative, but not like put a pen to paper. It didn't happen for me. So,
yeah, you're more like 3D. Let me build something.
Yes, yes. In fact, I built
something.
I built this like monster looking thing out of like paper towel rolls and googly like big foam styrofoam balls for eyes and this like box that opened for it was cute. So
I love
stuff like that. Absolutely. So as I was growing, I was very extroverted, very creative, was singing all the time. And as I got older, then I sang in my high school worship band. And that was really cool. And so that's kind of who Holly was growing up. And then I graduated, was still very extroverted, went to a little bit of college at Malone University, Christian college in my area. Was an amazing experience for a semester. But what I kind of ran into, I was originally going for youth ministry. And what I kind of ran into was, I don't know if I want to do this forever. And Malone, as amazing as it is also very expensive. And I was like, I do not want to continue going for this degree. And maybe it's not what I want to do forever. And so I dropped out after one semester. And then I went to a Urbana conference, which is like a Christian conference, to explore what you want to do as a young college-aged adult. So it was in St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, I was really... And a group of church friends invited me, and I really didn't know any of them. So it just seemed like a real God thing to go.
I did a thing like that once.
Yeah, there you go. And so that was just... I was going through that season not knowing kind of what I was going to do. Went back to school for a little while. And let's see, how do I segue this to the end of me not being mom and wife?
Yeah, because yours started a lot sooner than mine did.
Yes. So that was like the college years. And towards the end there is when I met my two of my children's father. I had a first marriage and a second marriage, and we'll get to the details of that later. But that's when I was in college the second time. Never have graduated college yet because it's still one of my dreams. I guess that's how this will wrap up. One of my biggest dream growing up was always to be a wife and a mom and a stay-at-home mom. And I never wanted to be a doctor or a fireman for a brief minute, I wanted to be a fireman, which is interesting. But I had never wanted these like career jobs. And so it was so hard for me to go to school for 4 years to have some position that I know that's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to be a mom and a wife and provide for my family. And so I found ways to do that over the years, but none of them were what childhood Holly would have said she wanted to do. And so that's kind of where it led me. A little bit of college, not quite getting a degree, and at the end of my not being a mom journey, I obviously become a mom, and we'll get into the details of that later. But that's kind of what young Holly was. Extroverted, but creative, but no real direction because all she wanted was to be a wife and a mom. And so until she was just getting there. So, yeah. So I will ask the same question back to you. Who were you before you became wife and mom?
You know, it's funny because I feel like we would have been best friends. So let me rewind this all the way back. I was homeschooled. Until I went to high school. So homeschooled all the way through 8th grade. However, my mom did it the best way possible. I was a part of so many homeschool groups, usually at least 2 or 3 at a time. Mm-hmm. I did 4-H. I was heavily involved in church. My parents were both youth leaders, youth pastors of some kind.
Oh,
they
so cool.
started.
Of course they were. Their personalities.
I don't know if I told you that part yet,
I don't think I knew that, but that does not surprise me.
Exactly.
I would have loved to have them as youth leaders.
Yes, I would have too. They always did the teens. Like, come on. My mom did the teens. My dad did the adults.
Oh my gosh. It was a blur.
Right. So I never got my parents as my teacher. But we were always there. Awanas, VBS, during all kinds of stuff. Pretty much if church doors were open, I was there. I also my mom was in the church choir for a little bit. And so I would go with her sometimes. And they were super cool and chill and let me like practice with them and everything. And sit there and be there. And, old Baptist church, you had that like bar, that everybody sat behind. So I'm sitting there like, hey, just singing my little heart out. But I was like you. I was big into singing, loved music. I, didn't know if I was good or not, but I was going to sing. But I sang for a couple churches. I did that for many years. There was even one church that I went to who he was like kind of a pretty well-known like youth, like a play coordinator kind of thing. And you had to audition to be in his church plays. And that picture that I sent you the other day, I was 7 or 8, and it was a middle school setting. So everybody else was at least like 12 and up, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why I looked like itty bitty Tiffany and all these other teenagers. But he said that like I auditioned so well that I got the part. And
wow, there you go.
I mean, it was like a 2.5 hour play, maybe. It literally was the entire church day. It was like the whole church service. There was no other service but that play. And that is my top memory of like, singing and performing. And that's what like really, I guess, kind of set my heart on fire for all of that. And so when I got to high school, whenever I went to high school, we, because of some family stuff and some situations and everything, we were no longer homeschooled and we went to high school, me and my twin brother. And I was such an extrovert. Nobody believed I came from homeschooling. They were all like, there's no way you went to middle school with all these people. And I was like, no, I don't know a single one of these people. I was like, I don't know nobody. That's why I'm doing this.
To get to
That's
know
why
you.
I'm talking. I'm trying to get to know everybody. I don't know anybody but my twin brother that I came here with. And we don't have a single class. But anyway, so it was funny. And everybody got to like realize like, oh, shoot, she ain't getting. And pretty much all I had to do was tell them my lunch number. My lunch number was so long. Everybody's like, oh, you did just get here. I was like, it's crazy. That's a thing. But everybody believed me because of that.
Yeah.
That was literally what convinced people, not anything else. And I was like, wow.
That's hilarious. Wow.
But I was such an extrovert. I was so hyper and loud. I was like the one when you walk, when I'm there, you know it. You know I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's funny because I don't feel like that anymore. But again, this is who I was before a mom and a wife. And I loved it. I love being super outgoing and friendly.
Yes.
And, that's who I was. Literally, if I was quiet, people were like, are you okay? Who do I gotta,
Yep.
I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm just, I don't feel good today. And they're like, who did it? I'm like, okay.
Right.
But I feel like that, like for me and you, we both have that kind of energy still in us. I can see it. I can hear it. But like, we're just so overwhelmed all the time.
Amen.
By everything else going on. It's like that little person inside of us is just like waiting. Just waiting.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so I think I just find it funny that our journeys were pretty similar.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
My high school was like probably polar opposite of yours. Yours seemed to be more of like the arts and everything. My high school was technology.
Okay.
So when I went to high school, I got certified in every Windows format there was. The PowerPoint, Excel, Access, you got training in all of it. You got an actual Microsoft certification whenever you finished.
That is so cool.
Set of classes. I went for web page design, all kinds of stuff. I actually didn't do any of the arts class. I tried for 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
And I never got it. I never got picked to be a part of the arts class. That's the funny thing too.
Wow.
It was like they had to be picked. And I would
weird.
have all these friends that are like, I'm in art. I didn't even want this class. I didn't sign up for it. I'm like, dude, I've signed up for it for 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
How did you get it?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I hated it. But
That's
for
crazy.
whatever reason they did it, you got picked to be in art. So I never got it.
Really weird. Yeah.
Right? So I never got it. But I did all of the kind of like technology art ones that I could.
There you go.
And I did vocal music. And I did that freshman through junior year. My junior year, my teacher, it was only one teacher for it. She actually changed my schedule to be in honors chorus to sing with like pretty much all the seniors.
Oh, nice.
And I did that, and that led me to being able to go to Festival Disney in 2013 to compete in Disney World, and that was so cool. It was so much fun.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
But that was also the year that a lot of my singing stopped because I didn't know at the time, honestly, didn't know what happened to me until actually like a year or two ago, was I got vocal nodules, and it completely ruined my voice. And knocked me I was like the highest soprano, and I used to be able to hit every note on the keyboard. So she let me pick.
Soprano 1? Yeah,
Yep.
me too,
She
girl.
let me pick. See, right?
It's crazy.
So
gosh.
it was crazy because junior year, she also made me sing. There was not enough altos, and she knew I could hit the range. Mm-hmm. So she switched me over to alto.
Yep, because your range goes like this, like as high as you could go is as low as. I sang some like boy parts sometimes.
Yeah,
it goes that low too.
Did you do tenor?
Yep.
Yep. See, I got you. Yeah. So my voice got ruined that year, though. I don't know if it was from having to do that. I don't know if it was how much singing we did, because we did so much singing just in general, but also like I was leaving school sometimes after dark.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh my God, it was crazy. And then we had our own concerts that we did, and we had plays that we did. I did a medieval feast play. I don't know if I ever told you that.
Oh my gosh.
It was a literal medieval feast. There was a dinner and everything. It was a dinner show we did. It was cool. It was
That is so cool. Oh,
but
I go.
Right? Oh, I wanted to go. I was in it, but I wanted to go.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm hungry.
Sorry. But anyway, we had so much that we did that year. I don't blame her for it. I definitely don't. I think it was just a lot on my voice. Mm-hmm. And with my lung problems that I already have, it just was too much. So I found out whenever I got vocal nodules 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I found out that that's what it was. And it was, I figured I probably had the same exact thing. It was vocal nodules on both sides of my vocal cords, just ruining my voice. And so I kind of stopped singing for a little while after that. Around the time that me and Cody actually met. My husband's name is Cody. We met in high school. So we went to school together all 4 years. But we started dating 2 weeks before graduation. And I messaged him literally 2 days before prom. I sent him a message, and he returned my message, and we talked every day since then. We did not go to prom together, but he had just kind of went through a breakup. So he wasn't like going with anybody. He was going with friends, and I was like, well, I'm going with some friends too, but I'll meet you there.
There you go.
And so we hung out at prom, and we went to the same after party and hung out. And like years later, I found out that at that after party was when he was like, all right, I like her.
Aww.
And I was like, oh my gosh. Because at some point I asked him, I was like, when did you know that you like me, that you were going to ask me out. He was like, prom night. I was like, okay.
Aww.
Oh. So that's a little bit of our story as well. We've been dating since graduation. And I went to college as well. Now, I thought ever since I was 9 years old that I was going to be a vet. I just knew it.
That's also one of the things that I said I was going to be.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. If it was anything, it was that. Yeah.
Exactly. We just want to be around animals all the time.
Right. Yep.
Junior year, I got my handed to me. I realized right then and there in a surgery that I was assisting by giving them tools and nothing else. When they had to remove a dog's eye. And I was like, nope.
Might not be for me.
This ain't for me. Nope. This ain't for me at all. So then I thought by the next year, I was like, okay, what's another passion I got? And I always loved designing. And so I thought, okay, I'll go for interior designing. And the school that I got accepted to was the Art Institute in Raleigh, Durham. I got accepted. I had done everything. I was going to start school in 2 weeks. I was going to all of the senior day stuff. So it was pretty much where they invited high school seniors to get a little piece of, here's what you're about to do. Here's how it's about to go, which I really appreciate they did that because I realized I was not on anybody else's level. I was like, me coming from a school where I don't have a single art class background, should have probably told me something. But it was a passion. But, not all passions turn into your job. And I realized that there. And I was like, no, same as you. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, like, for life, for my job,
Yep.
So 2 weeks before classes started, that semester, my final semester in college, I had a business class that rocked my world. It changed everything. And I was like, I am going to school for business. And I did. I went to school for business administration for management and got an associate's degree with that and a few certificates for marketing, small business startup, all that kind of stuff. I'm a stay-at-home mom now, so obviously not using it. But that was me. That was me before I became a mom. Like you, we were just a bunch of extroverts loving life.
Trying to find our way.
Yeah, trying to figure out what do I want to do with my life.
Lost along the way.
Yeah. Come to find out, we just wanted to be moms.
Yep.
We just wanted to be moms, raise the next generation to be a bunch of crazy goofballs.
Yep. Gotta keep them weird.
Exactly. It's not enough weirdness. Well, sorry. There might be. But you know what I mean. But yeah, it's always fun looking back at like who you were, where you are now, and appreciating who you were and who you are now.
Oh yeah.
Because I do. I wouldn't change a thing in my life right now. And I love being a mom. I love being a stay-at-home mom, and our kids are our life. But it's fun to have stuff like this where, we do have...
Be Holly and Tiff.
Yeah.
Yep. Not mommy for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. To have our own thing.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So I think with all of that, that takes us to our next one. It's funny. That was question one.
Yeah.
I think
We're
the rest
done
of them
for.
aren't as long for that one. That one
Yeah,
was
I
just,
think we can keep them briefer.
Yeah, I think we all know that kind of question
Yeah.
takes a little bit. All right, so what does your family look like? I know we talked about it, but who's your family?
Yes, absolutely. So as I mentioned, my kiddos, my first two kiddos came from my first marriage. So at 20 years old, I got married. I had found out that I was pregnant unexpectedly. And that was a really interesting journey for me. I'll keep it brief, but having grown up in the faith, and I had a purity ring for a long time, and then things happen and life evolves and we change. And so one summer I found out that I was pregnant, and we got married just a couple months later. And, you know, it was a really crazy time because I was kind of battling this like shame and associated with being pregnant so young, because everything that I knew growing up was like, oh, I can't do that. But at the same time, being so excited to meet my first baby, and all I ever wanted to be was a mom. And so it was this weird juggling of like, how am I allowed to be excited when I feel shame about this? And but then I had my first, and she's a little girl. Her name is Brinley. And then in that marriage, we had a second. And it was not, I won't get into the details of that. That'll be another episode. But it wasn't a very happy marriage. But I got to the point where I was like, well, I never wanted to have just one kid. And so I was like, you know, we're going to remain married because I believed that, you know, you stay married, you make it work unless they are harming you. Different story. But, you know, we weren't really happy, but I wasn't being abused. It was just like not, you know, and so I was like, well, I had never wanted to have just one. So then we had our second, and my second is Blake. And they are 10 and 8. And then that marriage did inevitably end. And so then I spent 3 years as a single mom, and then I was on TikTok in 2020, as all of us were, I think, and was bored because I had just moved into an apartment by myself with the kids for the first time. Like my whole life, I'd never lived alone. And for the first time I could afford.
Terrified of that. You were so strong.
What was nice about that apartment, it's give or take with how you feel about it, but it was, the entry door was on the inside of the building. So it's not like someone could come in unless they were one of the other tenants. Now, do I trust all the tenants? Not necessarily, but that made me feel like I had a bedroom in a house instead, or like a bedroom that was really a full apartment. But it made me feel a little bit better. And my best friend, at the time, one of my best friends, she was one of my maid of honor. She was downstairs. She had an apartment on the downstairs opposite side of the building. So it was like nice to know someone was close by. So for about a year, I had moved into that apartment. At that time, I was putting the kids to bed at night, and I was so lonely and so bored. And I'm like, I want to talk to people. I'm extroverted. Like, I want to, you know, do something else. But I'm here doing my job. But so I would get on TikTok, and then I got a lot of followers. Things were going viral. And then I'd go live on TikTok. And that's the time where, as you're well aware, where I met Stacy, who's my husband. And we met on TikTok. He'd come into my lives, and he was like my moderator and talking and, you know, keeping people calm and stuff. And now it's funny because he's live all the time, and I'm kind of a moderator on his, but everybody else does a way better job because I'm momming all the time. But so that's how we met. And then I broke my ankle because an axe target fell on it. Long story, can be told in a later episode, but
definitely worth telling.
It's such a good one, but we won't go into it. But I broke my ankle, shattered my ankle, and I wasn't going to be walking for months. And so he looked at me. This was on a 1 weekend trip, 1 month into us dating. He had come up for the weekend.
And it was a surprise.
And thankfully he was there when it happened. And he looked at me, and he's like, single mom, 2 kids. She can't walk for the next 3 months. He's like, I'm not leaving. Like, he had nothing but the bag that he brought for that weekend, but he's like, I'm not leaving. So he stayed. He didn't have any of his stuff until, I think he might have gone. He flew home at one point, like when I was somewhere in recovery,
or something, right?
To just grab more of his stuff and drive his truck home, because he didn't have his truck either. He had flown for the weekend. He had
actually called Cody.
I believe it.
That. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
it's a drive. Every time he drives, he calls Cody.
No, like whenever he showed up, like back where he was staying. Yeah. I remember him FaceTiming, and he's got all these boxes and everything, and he's just like, what do I need? you know?
Yep. And, oh my gosh, that's funny.
I remember that. And then that's when he kind of told us a little bit of the story of what's
going on, because it was a whiplash for everybody involved. But yeah, so then he moved up here, and we got married then in 2021, and then we had so I have 3 babies. We had our 3rd baby in 2023, and he's a little boy named Shiloh. He's 2, and him and Taryn are buddies. Well, Taryn, I don't know who that could be because you told your story. So that's what my family looks like. I have my husband, Stacy, my 3 kiddos. So that's us. And I will ask you, what does your family look like?
So my husband's name is Cody. And if you want a little fun fact, my twin brother's name is Cody.
And I just put the pieces together on that recently. Don't know how. I'm sure before I had that epiphany.
Yes, in that
went
video,
out.
right? And you thought I was talking about Cody this whole time, and I was talking about my brother.
You said that while you were in the hospital as a baby, your dad was with Cody, and I was like, why would he have known Cody when you were a baby? I was so confused.
Your video was hilarious. I was cracking up.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So my husband's name is Cody. I guess are kind of, people call us high school sweethearts, and I was like, I guess we technically were still in high school when we started dating. I had a huge crush on him for quite a while and kept it a secret. One day my friend had asked me, like, just a little backstory. One day my friend had asked me, she's like, come on, you got to have a crush on somebody. Like, you don't talk about boys. You never talk about boys. You got to like somebody. And we were just sitting there chilling, talking one day, and I was like, I mean, kind of. And she was like, oh, shoot, I knew it. Okay, you got to spill it. And I told her, and literally, she was close buddies with somebody that he was close with, and me and her were close. And so her name is Rosalise, in case you watch this, Rosalise. We're still friends on, like, all the platforms.
There you go.
Been watching her.
That's a beautiful name. That's a beautiful name.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, my God. It's so pretty.
I've never heard that before.
Rosalise Diaz.
Oh, my gosh.
Her. Right?
Beautiful.
I was like, oh, her name's so pretty. She's beautiful, too. Tell you what, she is.
Fits the name. There you go.
Yes. So, been watching her kill it as a mom, though. But she got with him, and she was like, we got to hook them up together. And literally, he was scheming, and she was scheming on prom night. They were going to make this happen, and it was hilarious. And I knew about all of it because they were both like, I was in their chats with everything. Like, I was in the know, and Cody was not.
Oh my gosh. Sabotaged. Cody was sabotaged.
Yes. I think I told him after we were married that I had his number that night. Like, they gave me his number that night, and I was like, I was not texting you first. I already talked to you first. Your turn.
Right. I already started the fire.
Yes. Okay. I'm waiting for you to ask me my number. Why are you taking so long? It was killing me. I just wanted to text him and be like, hey, so he gave me your number. Oh
my gosh, that's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, the whole plot and everything that went down for us to start dating is hilarious. I love it. But anyway, so my husband's name is Cody. We're only 4 months apart in our age, and I think that's pretty cool. We're the same age sometimes, but he loves when his birthday comes and he's older than me. But we were married so we've been together. This year makes 11 years. We've been married for 7. And we have a 3 going on 4-year-old daughter named Taryn. She is, she's kind of like my miracle baby. We tried for a year to get pregnant, and literally almost a year exactly, like almost to the day, I wound up pregnant, and found out probably like a month or so later, because at that point to be honest, I was done crying over the negative test, and I just didn't want to test anymore. So found out that I was pregnant with her. Because of a lot of my health complications, which I know we will probably cover throughout these episodes and stuff, I am technically supposed to not be able to have children. And she was a godsend. I was praying for her for so long. I was praying for a little girl. I was like, I need a little girl. I need to have a daughter. And it was so crazy because, like, even before she was born, God showed me what she would look like. Like, not even as like an older child, of what she currently looked like. Because soon after that, I had an ultrasound done, and I felt like I already seen it.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just crazy. I was like, God already like showed me what she would look like. Like, wow. Not just, I'm giving you your daughter, but
This is how you know she's from me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that was his sign.
Yeah.
Like there's probably so many, but
Yeah.
I think that was his sign because it wasn't too much longer and she was born. Mm-hmm. And I think he was like, look, this is what she looks like. This is what she's going to look like. Because he, like, I knew before anybody that I was going to be having her. And she was born premature 2 months early. So, and I knew. At first time mom, like, who knows what's going on? Nobody.
Yep. Nope.
And internally, like, I knew, but I was also like, no.
I'm a first-time mom. There's no way
I was like, no, I don't know. I don't know if I'm right, and all this kind of stuff. And you're second-guessing yourself because, of course, all the doctors and nurses and everybody's like, no, and, trying to tell you what's what. And it's like, I don't believe that. But anyway, she is our one and only right now. I'm on a huge health journey to get better and to stay here. And I'm trying to get better. I always wanted 2 kids. Always. That was just when me and Cody even started dating. When we started dating, we talked about everything. We put it all out there. We talked about, how many kids do you want? What kind of names do you like? What's your dream house? Where do you want to live? All kinds of stuff. We really got to know each other when we started dating. And I highly recommend that for anybody. But it's crazy because, we were 17. So to everybody else, they're probably thinking, we never had those conversations yet. But that's what we did when we hung out. We really got to know each other. And we both wanted 2 kids, 3 at max. I'm one of 3. So I was like, whew, that's a lot. I know what I put my mom and dad through, so heart attacks daily, man. But anyway, we always wanted 2 kids. That's still a goal for me, and it's just something that I continuously pray about, and we'll see what happens. But right now, I have a beautiful baby girl that is my world. I love her so much. She is the perfect mix of me and her dad.
Absolutely.
But yeah, got our little family of 3 here, and my baby boy is my dog. Like, that is my baby boy, and he knows it. He knows it. He is a mama's boy, as you are well aware.
Oh yeah. Do you want to save the third one for like another Who Are We interview segment, and we can just go into
because I feel like those 2 kind of went together anyway.
They did.
So.
The other one doesn't go with them,
random.
so we'll save that one. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So what do we got next?
Next is This or That, and I got logged into Stacy's Google, so let me pull over to mine again, and I will start off. So This or That is a game where it's just rapid fire this or that questions. So the boys are very bullying each other when they played this on their podcast. It's like, you're taking too much time, or you're not taking it. It's, don't drag on. The goal is to just say the this
First
or the that.
in your head. Yes.
But I'm not going to yell at you if you take a second to think, okay? Because honestly...
Are you going to yell at me for my answer?
Not until the end. No, but I did do some where you're going to be like, oh, like, I think it's going to startle you. And if you need a second to think, that's okay. Because I did try to do ones that I didn't know. And I know so much about you now. There are a couple on here.
I know.
But
I threw in a couple that, like, I know the answer to. But some of these I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
All right, here we go. This or that.
Oh, we both did that.
So I did start off with cats or dogs.
Dogs.
Beach vacation. Like they said, not supposed to say anything.
Oh, sorry.
No, but you're good. All right, beach vacation or mountain vacation?
I'd honestly say it depends on the time of year, but I'm going to go with beach.
There you go. And I think because we just went to the mountains, so. Oreos or chocolate chip cookies?
Chocolate chip cookie.
There you go. Chips or pretzels?
Like regular chips, just...
Yeah.
Pretzel.
There you go. Fish or reptiles?
Reptiles.
Oh, okay. I mean, I get, okay. Ham or turkey?
Ham.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know these things.
I'm a ham girly.
Ham girl. Oh, I got something for you. Hold on, I'll fill you in a second. Pepsi
Okay.
or Coke?
Coke.
Okay. Going in or staying out? Wait, going out or staying in?
I heard that and I was like,
It's not until later my brain buffered. Going
sorry,
out,
going
or,
out or
staying
staying in. Going out.
Yeah, yeah. Warm colors or cool colors?
Cool.
Okay, there you go. And spring or fall?
Fall.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Okay, the one little thing I'll throw in here. Have you ever heard of ham loaf?
Ham loaf. No.
Okay, so I will be getting it, making it. I think I have to get it because there's like a ham loaf you can buy at this place. I don't really know how to make it from scratch. I don't know.
I have never heard of
But
that.
it's like meatloaf, but it's ham. And it has this like brown sugar glaze on top. Girl,
I want it.
it's so good. And
want it.
Stacy hates on it so hard.
What?
Oh, so hard. He's like, you and your ham loaf, and just thinks it's the nastiest thing ever. I'm getting it for you. It's so good.
I want to try that.
It's so good. Okay.
I would love that. Okay.
I will be tracking it down for you.
I may have to Google that, or you
that's
send
so
me
good.
send me what it is in case I look up the wrong thing.
Okay. All right. I will.
Okay. All right. It's funny. We do have a couple the same, but
Okay. There we go.
we'll see what
Yeah.
you say. Okay. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Coke. Walmart or Target?
Walmart.
Really?
All day. All day.
Okay. Okay.
All day. I'm a Target hater.
Oh God.
It's
Picnic.
the bouginess for me.
I get that. I get that, but my Walmart doesn't have the dollar section yet,
Yeah.
and I love
mine
that Target
does.
dollar section.
I know. That's the only thing I like about Target is the dollar section. Then you walk anywhere else and I'm like,
Why?
no. I mean, the clothes. And then I went. Never mind.
See, I don't do the
Tangent.
clothes. I don't do the
Yeah.
clothes. Sorry.
No.
All right. So, picnic or restaurant?
Restaurant.
Okay, I thought you'd say picnic. All right.
I don't know. There's still work involved for me if I do a picnic.
That's
A
true.
restaurant. I sit down and do nothing.
That is true.
Oh.
You're not wrong. You're okay.
I like the nature though. You almost had me.
I
But
know. That's why I thought you were
patio
going
at
to
a
say
restaurant?
picnic.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I just pictured doing work and I got lost.
That's all right. We got to have a break sometimes, so I get that.
right, right. Oh,
All
man.
right. Funny. Mountains or beach?
Oh, nice. Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Spring or fall?
Oh my gosh,
Right?
fall. We are
Okay.
just winning.
That's hilarious. Shoes or sandals?
Sandals.
Okay. I thought you might say that, but I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Easier the better.
Jeans or leggings?
Leggings all day.
I had to throw
All
it in there
day.
because I knew you were going to be like, dude.
That's such a good one. That's such a good one. I'm so glad you put it in there.
Me too. Your response was better. I was expecting leggings, but I like that better.
All day, dude.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
All day.
Oh, of course. The
Oh, did
little
he leave?
traitors. They've been
Yeah.
behind me the whole time. Oh, there's one over there, but you can't see me. He's on the
Okay. I
couch.
was about to say, I've seen a couple already. So
There's 14 in this house, so.
they're like, come on, mama, let's go to bed.
Yeah, they are. They're waiting.
I know. Long hair or short?
I would say long hair, because it's always been a goal to get there, but it is a lot more work. So, but yeah, long hair is my
Okay.
instant answer.
I honestly wasn't sure what you put for that. So, dresses or skirts?
Dresses.
Dresses. Me too.
Dresses. Yeah.
Okay.
There we
Those are just some of the
go.
ones that I thought of, and I was like, some of these are good.
Yeah. I like it. Good go. All right. So I'm going to lead us into our next segment, and we'll see how long it takes us with these ones as well.
Okay.
These ones are going to be questions related to our faith, and we actually, do you want to do just one of them this time and say?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because they kind of are all related. That way, we keep our new friend's attention.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
let's see which one. I think I'm going to do the number 2. So, and I'll tell you, and then you can just say, ditto,
Okay.
your turn. So our question for our How We Found Our Faith interview, that's our third segment, if you're paying attention. Third big segment, if you don't count the verse. So the question that I'm asking Tiff is, tell us about the time that you really began your faith. How did your faith come alive? When do you feel like this is when my personal relationship with God began?
So I did grow up in a Christian household all my life. Like my parents are freaking prayer warriors. They are literally the best examples that I have, that I'm so thankful that I grew up under them, really seeing what somebody who is like loving, trusting God, has faith, immense faith, and just really truly believes in like the power of God. And so I will say that I feel like I kind of didn't appreciate it as much as I wish I did when I was younger. Like I was a very strong believer and a very good Christian when I was younger. And then I will say probably, honestly, whenever I got older and probably after like started working, honestly, would probably be whenever I would say I kind of like fell out. I wasn't going to church. A lot of times I was working, so I wasn't going to church. Life was just busy. My parents were working. Both my siblings were working. My older sibling was moved out. Coming up soon, my twin brother was moving out. So life was just crazy. It was a lot of, either me by myself, me with my boyfriend, my husband. And I don't know, I think just like life, I let it get the best of me and pulled me away a little bit. I was still a firm believer, prayed multiple times every single day. And I even had people that told me, I didn't even have to tell them. And they're like, look, I know you're a Christian, blah, 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 whatever it is. And I'm like, I am so thankful that people can see that within, Sorry. Like, I don't even have to say anything. I am. Yeah. I appreciated that. And I think that's what like kind of held me there, but I would say I was stagnant in my faith. I wasn't really growing. I was just staying where I was. And 2019, that there was a story there that is too long for me to tell right now. That will definitely have to be like we both tell a big story kind of thing.
Yeah.
Podcast. But I had a moment in 2019 and it changed my faith. It changed my trust. It changed my vision and just what I knew of God's power, and just escalated it to 1,000. And just everything in me, I started going to church after that. I was like, I have to find a church. I've got to grow my faith, my relationship with Jesus. I started reading the Bible again. Everything about me was just on fire and just seeking God in every way. And right then was like my kicker for, all right, I've been stagnant. I've just been sitting here in the shadows for too long. You gotta be all for Christ. You gotta set people on fire. You gotta be a light.
Yep.
It is time. Stop sitting around here waiting or doing whatever you're doing. It's time for a change.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And right then and there is when I believe my true faith and relationship with God changed forever.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
So how about you? What is the time that you really believe your faith began?
So I would say for me, I feel like I've had a lot of moments like that where there's a stagnancy and then there's kind of this thing that reawakens. But I would go back for this specific question. I would go back to, I believe it was like the 6th grade. And my family had been going to First Christian Church up here in the Canton, Ohio area. We'd been going there since my parents' divorce, because my mom went to that church. My dad stayed at the church they had been at. And we left First Christian, but I think I always went to the main service with my mom, and they were like, you need to go check out what the middle schoolers are doing. And so I went to the youth thing for the first time, and I walked in the doors, and this gentleman named Rick Rodak walked up to me. He was one of the youth leaders there, and he's like, hey, like just sought me out and was like, hey, how are you? Like, is this your first time? What's your name? Tell me about you. And like, then introduced me to, I believe that first day introduced me to a girl named Marie. And man, God just works, dude. He introduced me to Marie, and I got plugged in. And then Marie, between Rick inviting me in like that and just me feeling like, whoa, I just walked in these doors and I feel like I'm home. And then Marie guiding me through being a leader to me, my faith just like took off there in that First Christian ministry. And it's funny because I really can't even remember details. Like I can barely picture the rooms that we sat in. Like I can't remember the details. I just know I found God there. And that's when my faith went from just being, as you described, grew up in a Christian household. I went to church my whole life. And I just like knew about God, and I was like, yeah, he's cool. And, we used to do like little skits of like the verse where the guy has the long hair and that makes him strong. Samson makes him strong. And we used to do a skit. We did a skit with a wig on, and we knocked down toilet paper. Like we were doing the thing, and, but that's when it really changed for me. And I was like, I can have a personal relationship with God, and him and he can get me through things and be there for me. And so what's crazy is since then, not very long after, maybe 2, 3, 4 years after, Rick Rodak actually passed away from cancer. And so there's like a baseball team that has his name on their hats and stuff. And I didn't know that right away, but he made such a difference in my life that it was so touching to know that he's no longer here. But he was a huge fundamental part of awakening my faith. And then Marie, more of a story for another time, but she then led me, and I met another mutual friend named Rachel through Marie, who I met so many other people through and had more faith experiences through, and so many other little tangent stories. But it just was God just making the web begin,
sprinkling everywhere.
Connecting people and connecting situations, and so many amazing things happened through there. So, but that was really through like middle school, and I think it was 13. There goes a cat. I think I was 13 when I was baptized. And that was at another church. I've been to many churches here in the Canton area. But yeah, so that's think where my faith kind of really began. So
okay. I think I was 11.
There you go.
I was 11, May 3rd.
Oh, wow. There you go.
The date whenever I got baptized.
It was just your anniversary. And Brinley's, I think was yesterday or today. I just saw it on the 1 year ago.
Really?
Brinley was baptized.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I forgot I was going to tell her like, happy rebirthday.
Yeah, my mom has it on a calendar, and she has had it on a calendar since I got baptized, and she tells me.
That is so cute.
It's funny because at our church, or not May, it was March.
Okay.
It was March, because I was like, wait a minute. March 2nd was a baptismal day at our church, and my mom's like, yours was March 3rd.
Oh my gosh.
What? I was like, that's almost mine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's cool. That is sweet.
But yeah, I got baptized in a pool, in a swimming pool at somebody's house. Where did you get baptized?
It was in like the baptismal at like the front of the church. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my best friends didn't have one, so we had to do it at somebody's pool.
I remember one of my best friends from high school. We went to like some kind of service together. It was on my birthday, and she did one of those where like mine was pre-planned. I talked to the pastor. I went that day. But she did one where they like, if you want to be baptized, come up. It was on my birthday, and they only had like the stock tank tub thing, which they still in that church, like they still use that to this day. I just saw pictures the other day.
I think that's like what ours uses.
Yes, it's so cool. So she's like on that day in her clothes on my birthday.
Wow.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think that kind of wraps up our interview segment. We'll do more of those with other faith-related questions in the future. Actually, one of them being what really tested your faith would probably be a great opportunity for the
That would
2019
probably
story.
That would probably be that story.
Yeah, there you go. So that wraps that up, and the next section we have is Galley time.
Galley
I'll just do the entry here because then Tiff is going to give us a recipe. So Galley time, as I mentioned in the beginning, is a recipe that you're then going to be able to cook for your family. So we wanted to give also, as we talk about faith and we talk about life, and we wanted to give also, like, how is this actually going to help me when I'm a mom tomorrow? So here's a recipe that you can make for your family this week. And Galley, for those who don't know, our husbands were in the Coast Guard. And
Mine's
thankfully, yes, Tiff's is still in. Thankfully, mine is not and has never been since I met him. And
That's true.
I'm not a military wifey. And it's cool because I get to, like, wear this hat now because I'm, like, a veteran wifey, but not a military wife.
And you didn't have to live through all that.
Not a single minute of it. I thank him every Veterans Day that he did that, and then he got out in, like, May and then met me, like, you know, the following year. So,
yeah.
But on the ship, the galley is the kitchen. So I was trying to play on words here. So the galley time, if you're like, what is galley time? The kitchen on the boat is the galley. So galley time is our recipe time. So with that, Tiff's going to tell us the recipe. Also, the recipe, full details of it, we're going to put in a Google Sheet or something for you, and we're going to give that so that you can then refer to it when you're actually making it. But she's going to give you an idea of what you got.
Yes, but I did want to keep it really nice and simple. We're keeping it stupid smart. Stupid smart simple.
Stupid simple.
We're gonna call it stupid simple galley tat.
Yes, I love it. I love it. That's good.
This one will be just as easy as if you're making some spaghetti for dinner. Honestly, you're just gonna throw in a couple more ingredients. So, what you're gonna need is you're gonna need some pasta shells. I use the medium shells. Use whatever you want. Does not matter. Tastes great either way. Then I use pasta sauce. I don't usually use marinara with this one. I like to use actual, like, spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce. I usually stick with Prego. Use whatever you like. If you like traditional, if you like the 3 cheese, if you like garlic and herb. I don't know all of them out there, but whatever you want to use it. Whatever you got on hand, honestly, that works too. Then you're going to need some spinach leaves. The Laughing Cow cheese. That one, I usually use just I believe it says original. I usually use that one, but the garlic and herb one is really good in it too. Just in case.
That does sound good.
The green container one. The original is the blue container one. They do, I believe, have like a spicy one. So if you want to add like a little bit of kick to it.
There you go.
I think it's got like maybe a little bit of like peppers or something in it. I think it's like an orange or red container.
Where do you get Laughing Cow from? I've never heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You can get it Walmart, Aldi, Target.
Really?
Carly C's Food Line, anywhere. So it's going to be right there by like your feta cheese, your cheese blocks, stuff like that. Like I do, so a Walmart that I have close by is a neighborhood Walmart. So it keeps like the special cheeses, the Baby Bell, the feta, I think the ricotta, stuff like that. It keeps it in a different area. But in like the bigger Walmarts, other stores, stuff like that, it's going to be right there with all your main cheeses. Usually really close to Baby Bell. Do you know what the Baby Bells are? The ones in the red? Yeah. It's usually right there by it.
Okay, I gotcha.
So yeah, there's multiple different flavors. If you go to somewhere like Wegmans or Harris Teeter or something that's got all like the fancy cheeses and stuff, they have probably like 6 different Laughing Cow options. They have more than usual. So I don't know all the flavors that are possible. But anyway, it's the best. It's good on crackers. It's good on toast. It's good on...
I need to get some tomorrow.
Girl, I have 2 packs in my fridge.
Yep.
So it comes in a round container, just in case anybody else doesn't know. It comes in a round container, and there's wedges inside.
Okay.
I use 4 to 5. I like it cheesy. If you don't like it cheesy, use less. But I use that. And my husband isn't a big cheese fan. And
Weirdo.
Right. Tell me about it. Him and my mom.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what's wrong with him. But my husband loves this dish. So even if you're not a cheese lover, just try it. Throw 4 in there. See what you think. It'll lighten it up, and it looks like this like creamy. What is it? It's like something like at Olive Garden. I can't think of the dish. Oh, like a margarita marinara. You know what I'm talking about? Like that margarita
There's vodka sauce.
Vodka
sauce.
something like that.
Vodka sauce is like a lighter red.
Yeah. I bet that's what it looks like too. But it's so good. It thickens it up a little bit too. And then the optional part is feta and mozzarella, and I'll tell you how I use those. So what you're gonna do, pretty plain and simple. Cook your pasta as you normally would. Cook it all by itself. Brown your hamburger meat. If you want to use turkey, if you want to use hamburger, if you want to do it vegetarian style, don't throw any in there.
There you go.
You want to do chicken, whatever.
Or you could do the meatless crumbles that my mom gets that for anything. Like we had tacos for Blake's party.
Okay.
She brought herself like fake meat that she could put in her walking taco. So
I think I've seen that too. So okay, and
she uses that as a replacement.
My sister-in-law's allergic to beef, so
oh wow.
Usually we do chicken. Yes, it. I think it came after her pregnancy, so I think it was one of the things.
Yep, that's when I became allergic to avocados after.
Oh wow! See, I don't think I got. I don't know. I don't think I got an allergy after Taryn, but I could have. I don't know. Who knows?
Something that you haven't touched yet, and then you're like, oh.
I got diabetes from it, so I think I would have rather get an allergy. I got diabetes from my pregnancy.
Okay, you win. That's worse than an avocado allergy.
I'll take an allergy. Shoot. I've dealt with an allergy, you know.
I know. So. My phone goes off all day with your diary.
You wanted to be a part of my group.
I know. I'm glad to be. I'm just kidding. It does not go off all day.
I'm sure it's hilarious. We're like, whoa.
Do you know, though, that it sometimes, like, buzzes? Like, I was at the chicken coop and it sounds...
Oh, no.
Sounds like an Amber Alert.
It does. Oh my gosh.
It's you. It's crazy.
Though.
I was like, oh, what is that? Because my phone's like always on silent, so it like pushes through to tell me like Tiff's going through it. I'm like, oh, not a kid missing.
I'm sorry.
Just Tiff's eating too many snacks.
Oh my gosh. Cody, he didn't want to join the thing at first because he was like, I don't want all those alerts because here's my phone going off. I was like, no, I turn all my alerts on. You can turn just the critical.
I'm glad you do.
Yes.
I'm glad you do. Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I haven't adjusted it at all. If it were to bug me, I would. But it's
okay.
It scared me that one day.
And I was like, I don't know if she has them all on.
And it sucks because like I only follow them for anyone listening. I only follow them to learn more about it because I'm interested. But I can't really help Tiff if her blood sugar alert is going off. We're in different states. You guys don't know that either. Yeah. I'm in Ohio.
I'm in North
Carolina. So I can't do anything. So I'm like, oh, Amber Alert. I hope she's taking care of this. I'm not going to call you and say, hey, you know your phone's doing it too. So
yesterday, though, was a rough day. I'm sure if you looked at that diagraph. Thing.
Yep.
Yesterday. And some of those days just come up and I don't know what causes it. But yesterday, it was like, your phone's going off. Or no.
I'm ignoring it.
Yes, I did. There was a couple times. He's like,
oh my gosh.
Babe, your phone. I know. I know.
Yep.
I'm ignoring it right now.
Oh my God.
It's making me mad.
And you're making it harder to ignore.
Like, shut up. We're not talking about it. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Back to the recipe. We will carry on all this conversation, plenty more, I'm sure. So what you're going to do, cook your pasta like you normally would. Brown your hamburger meat or whatever you got. Prepare that. And what I do after the hamburger meat is done, I season it. I have a blend that I love. It's just the garlic, salt, and pepper blend. They call it like the GSP seasoning. I use that one. Usually you can get it if you want that one. You can get it anywhere where you usually get like grill seasonings. They're really common there. So I'd get that. Then I season it a little bit. I pour in my sauces. I honestly use I like a lot more sauce to meat, personally. So I'll use like a can and a half worth of pasta sauce. And so at that point, you could blend, and I used to blend a can of spaghetti sauce and half a can of marinara. That's a good blend too. It tastes really good. Gives it like a little bit of like a, I don't know, like an extra kick of flavor, you know? Anyway, so you put that in, mix it all together. You put in the Laughing Cow. That one takes a little bit to melt. It's so dense, takes a little bit to melt down. So what I do is I really just break it up with the spoon, and I just keep mixing it, keep breaking it down. Honestly, push a lot of it towards the bottom of the pan to really heat up. And I keep mine on like medium to low, more so medium heat, letting it bubble a little bit to really melt that cheese. So then whenever you see it's getting pretty melted, that's when I like to tear up the spinach. Some people like it in the big whole leaves. I'd rather have it more bite-sized, and I'm not fighting with a whole you know, spinach, when you cook it, it gets all mushy. So I don't want to fight with a whole big piece of spinach leaf. So I just...
Or get a whole bite that's only spinach.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I tear mine up, and I put it in there, just mix it all together, and that's it. Then I just dump that sauce and meat mixture into the pasta. I mix it all together, and I used to throw it in a oven-safe dish and bake it for like 5-10 minutes. 10 minutes at max, really. But like 5 minutes in the oven with some cheese on top. But what I found, to make this even quicker and more of a mom hack, is just put it in a pot, mix it all together, keep it on like low heat. I literally put it on low. You can put it on probably at most 2. I put it on low heat. I top it with mozzarella and feta. If you don't like those, don't want one of those, both of those, whatever, just leave it out. But anyway, I top it with the mozzarella feta, put the lid on, and just let it kind of steam and melt that cheese a little bit. 5 minutes. And then eat it right then and there.
And you didn't dirty any more dishes.
You didn't. You didn't dirty no dishes.
Genius.
And it's all like a pot and a pan. That's it. And you're good.
There we go.
I love it. And it's so good. And like
what's it called?
I call it Italian casserole.
Italian casserole.
So when I first made it, we didn't really have a name. And it was these like Italian shells that we were using in the beginning, the big shells, which is really good because you get all that mixture inside the shell. But it's real quick and easy to make the medium shells. You still get a good enough shell size.
There you go.
Because honestly, those shells, I was winding up breaking them up to eat because they're the large shells.
Yeah.
Like the really big ones. And I was like, I bet we can do this with medium.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
anyway, just do that. If you don't want to do the cheese on top, go ahead and eat it right after you mix it all together.
There you go.
And it's a quick meal. It's as quick as you're going to make spaghetti, probably. So just add a couple minutes for, honestly, that Laughing Cow to melt, and that's it.
There you go.
So
cool.
It's a good one. I love it. We just made it tonight.
Yummy.
It was so good.
Awesome. There you go.
Yep. Well, alrighty. All right, so we could probably say, I'd want to see, at this time, we'd go with like a practical takeaway. What's your takeaway from this episode? Now, this episode had a lot of about us, getting to know us a little bit, who we are, who you're watching, who's talking to you. So I want to know your point, your takeaway of more so our Bible verse for this episode.
Yeah. I'm going to reread it just for a little reference back at the end.
A little recap.
Yeah. So our verse is Job 8, 5-7. But if you pray to God and seek the favor of the Almighty, And if you are pure and live with integrity, he will surely rise up and restore your happy home. And though you started with little, you will end with much. So I think what kind of connects all of this for me as my final takeaway is, I originally picked this verse as this was going to be, it's because our first podcast episode. So you started with little, you'll end with much. It's the beginning of something. Like I told Tiff, I literally Googled Bible verses that have to do with new beginnings. But what I'm realizing here from both of our stories of who we are, how we became this, our faith journeys, is that it really follows where we went and where we are now. Because we both went through these seasons of struggle, and not that there won't still be struggle and there isn't currently struggle, but what it says here of seek the favor of the Almighty. Both of us talked about times where we did that, where we still do that. And if you're pure and live with integrity, you'll surely rise up and restore your happy home. Our homes are very happy. Of course, there's days where we have some rough days and we go to bed thinking, I'm going to try better tomorrow. But though you started with little, you will end with much. We both have so much in our beautiful babies, in our relationships with our husbands. So it's really cool to kind of see that parallel of, if you pray to God and seek the favor as we were doing from our childhood into our teen years, as we told you guys about, there is still struggle. Don't get us wrong. This is a mom's podcast for a reason. We're going to keep it real with you 100% of the time. We're going to tell the good, the bad, and the ugly, because if there's anything about Tiff and I, okay, we keep it real. We keep it real at 100. But it's just a really beautiful way to kind of launch this, as if you keep seeking him. You keep seeking his face in the good, as they say in the valleys and on the mountaintops, and all the in between. Not just, and I catch myself sometimes when there's, I think it was the birds. The other night I forgot to check if the birds were in the coop, and I'm praying.
She has chickens, by the way.
Chickens and ducks.
She's not an adamant bird watcher.
But I forgot that I didn't check, and it was like 5 a.m. and I just started praying like, oh, please don't let them be attacked by an animal. And I do have to go check them now. It's midnight over here, but I have to go check that before I go to bed. But I was praying, and I caught myself thinking, here I am praying. Like, did I pray today? I don't even think I prayed that day. And that I was so busy doing mom stuff, and here I am just praying because I need something. So just truly the verse, what I'm getting out of it is, we need to be seeking his face in the good and the bad. In the moments where you're like sitting on your couch. Today I was listening to the birds because we had all the doors open and a gaping hole in our in our house as they put in a new door. But I'm listening to the birds. Just in those moments, we need to be like, thank you, God. Just seeking him always, and he will, although you start with little and with much. So that's my takeaway. Honestly,
like I've always been told, and I'm sure everybody's told in church, God knows your heart. He knows more than anybody how you truly feel, what you're thinking. And like, I try to pray, I was always taught, even like probably younger than my daughter's age, you pray before you eat, you thank God for your meal, what you had, your day, and so sometimes I catch myself when I'm starving, or even more so recently, whenever I've started all of this new medication and I've gotten, I just got done with a cystic fibrosis treatment that consisted of a lot. And
a lot of food.
That too. Which honestly turned from good to good to bad. But anyway, I realized a lot of times during that time that sometimes I was getting so caught up in medications, insulin, trying to carb count and time everything out. And I still, right now, I get caught up in that sometimes and I forget to pray. I just start eating and I'm like, you got to quit doing that. You need, I want to be more intentional to pray all the time. And I'm not one of those people, I'm like, you can't eat until you pray. No, I just mean, like, that's one of those times for me where, like, I'm glad that I feel I have that, like, just embedded in me. You think of eating, you think of praying. And to me, my prayer isn't like, God is great. God is good. I'm not doing that. There's nothing wrong with that if you want to do that.
Right.
But for me, that's when I take my moment to sit down and pause and go into my space to talk to God. And so a lot of people have told me over the years, like, you take forever to pray. You pray too long. And I'm like, excuse me?
This is my time. This is my time. Yeah.
This is us time, me time. You do you.
Yep.
This is, I don't just pray for this food. I pray to talk to God, to thank him, to give him my worries, my concerns, my appreciation, my everything, And
I think that's a really important thing for people to hear as they watch this podcast, because I am hearing this in a new way for the first time, because all honesty, like I said, we keep it real. I don't pray before I eat. And it's not because I consciously am like, I don't need to. I just, we prayed before we ate it, like growing up, but it wasn't an every time kind of thing. When we have like Easter, Mother's Day, we do pray before the meal.
When you kind of had like a family gathering.
Yeah.
But that's how Cody's family is.
Yeah, exactly. But we have sat at a meal together with you before, and I've seen you pray before you eat. And I think, oh man, that's so nice that she does that. I never think to do that. And I will say, I never thought of it from the perspective of, it's a trigger in your brain that I'm about to eat this food. And if you didn't pray the rest of the day, you prayed right then.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's really cool. If you struggle to pray, you struggle, because I do. I struggle to keep it a part of my daily life. And I go the whole day and I'm going to bed and the next day and I'm like, what did I talk to God about? Like kind of subconsciously, but really like saying, like talking directly to him. So I think that's a good trigger for people to think like, you might be like, oh, do I really need to pray before I eat? Like Tiff said, no, like, it's not this.
It's not a right to eat after you pray,
Exactly.
It's just it's a trigger.
A trigger,
like you said.
yeah.
That's think
smart.
of it as a trigger. Like, I'm about to eat. Let me talk to God while I eat. You don't even have to close your eyes, bow your head.
Yeah.
Talk to him while you're eating.
If it comes into your brain, chat with him.
Talk to him.
Yep.
Let him be your friend, your lunch date.
Yep.
Talk to him while you eat.
That's
Talk to him after you eat, whatever, and I am one of those people, like, sometimes say I forget at lunch and I go to pray at dinner. Like, I was just too busy at lunchtime. Food for my toddler, food for me, trying to figure everything out. And sometimes I've gotten to where I get to my next meal, whichever one it is. I get to my next meal and I'm like, I didn't pray last time. I didn't even think about it. And then I'll just sit there and start off with, I am so sorry that I did not think of you first. But thank you. Thank you for giving me that moment to, stop and realize.
Yeah.
Hey,
thank you for this reminder. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. And I'm so sorry that I've
said that to him before too.
Yeah.
In moments where like, I'm like, whoa, why did I think of that?
Yeah.
Well, because he brought me to this thought. Yeah.
And there's a lot of times where, I'll go to him later and I'm like, I'm so sorry that I didn't think of you first in that moment when I should have. When I was panicking or stressed or whatever, I should have went to you first. And that would have fixed, because I've had situations where I completely overwhelmed. I'm about to lose it. I am done. I am overstimulated to the max. I am starting to have anxiety attack, whatever it is. And sometimes I can literally just stop right there and talk to God. And it's gone. Like that feeling, that sensation, that overwhelm just of emotions and everything is just gone. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just talking to him. I'm like, Lord, you know what's going on. I need you to fix it right now.
And sometimes it's like, why did I just panic for an hour and a half when I could have just done this and he subsided it all?
Yeah, when I could have just been like, God is
surrounded me with peace.
Yeah.
I think there's this one, protect your peace.
There you
Cross,
go.
protect your peace. Immediate. That's kind of where this tattoo comes from.
Yeah.
Just like, man, the times where I remembered to be like, wait, God, you got it.
Wait.
And then it's like,
yeah.
Well, there went that
It's
pressure
like a
that was in my
weight off
chest.
of you. And, I love that. And I always pray, like, please just remind me of that when I need it. Remind me that I need to go to you first before I let my emotions and stress, anger, overwhelm, whatever, get the better of me. So I really like Job because it really gives his story when I like the book Job, but I like his story of just all of the things he constantly got pounded with, all the struggles and everything that he faced. He kept his faith. Mm-hmm. He remained faithful and trusting to God through all of it. And yes, there's times that, you know, he questioned God and he's like, you know, same as us. What's going on? Can you, like we mentioned in the beginning, you know, can you give me some insight into your plan here? Because I'm not getting it. Mm-hmm. And I love that we can see his viewpoint of what he went through, but how he made it through it. Mm-hmm. And how God brought him through everything he was going through, everything that he continued to get hit with. And one last thing that I'll say on it is something that I think is kind of important to understand. I used to always think everything good that happens to you came from God. Everything mm-hmm. bad comes from the devil. Mm-hmm. And that's not so. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes God allows bad things to happen, and sometimes it's from God. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not just that he allowed it, but it's something you needed to either grow in faith, grow your relationship with him, grow your trust, you as a person, help you get through something that you don't know that he's getting you out of. Mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. we don't see the whole picture. We see like the tiniest little piece, and we're confused, but we don't have to know everything. We just have to have mm-hmm. faith. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big thing that Job shows is you can have faith, you know, and trust God, even if mm-hmm. you don't know everything, even mm-hmm. if you don't understand what's going on in your life, you know, with you. Even if you were sitting there, I don't know how you would have been during that time, but if you're sitting there like, you know, God, why did I marry this man when I'm mm-hmm. going to get divorced? Mm-hmm. I didn't think you liked divorces, or why?
And my parents were divorced, so I never wanted to follow in the footsteps. Yeah. I never wanted to do the same thing, and no shame to them or anything. But my whole life I was like, I don't want to get divorced. I don't want to have a broken home, or the way that. And so it was really like, God, why? You knew that was on my heart, but yeah.
And it's probably one of those things like God knew you needed those kids mm-hmm. and that he would get you through what you mm-hmm. needed to get through to have those kids. Mm-hmm. And, you know, maybe he had to put somebody in your life, in your path for a reason. Mm-hmm. Unbeknownst to you, it could have been for his sake. You never know.
Yep. I often think about the fact that Brinley and Blake were supposed to exist exactly the way that they exist, mm-hmm. specifically with the DNA that they have. And Brinley would have always existed because, as we mentioned, she was an accident. But I think our marriage lasted as long as it did and was what it was because Blake needed to exist. Because he would have never been here if I was like, well, you know, it was an accident, but we don't need to stay together. And then we never got married. We never would have been together very long at all. Yeah. So, yeah, I often think about that was because they were supposed to be here. Yeah. And that's fine with me. Yeah. So. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Another thought I'll throw in there, and then we'll go into our little goodbye. But I just saw someone post recently, I don't know if it was a pastor or something, but in the idea of, you know, good things happening or bad things happening to people, an additional perspective. I love that you already took us down the road of sometimes these things happen because God has brought it. It's bad because it's the devil. And there are some things that happen that are just, they never should happen. And I'll relate this. I won't go deep into a story because it's not my story to tell, but I have some friends from like high school that just lost their daughter, like 4 or 5 years old. I think she was four. Just lost her to cancer. Wow. And I've been seeing her mom's posts and they are so strong in their faith. And even through moments where they're like, we don't want, like, we're mad. We're mad. And we don't want to like continue on, but God sustains. And so there's just some things that this devil does send. There's some things that God sends to grow you. And there are some things that are just wrong and never should have happened, but it's because of the world that we live in. We live in a depravity world, a world where sin rules very highly. God rules over all of it. But this is a sinful world. Like, this is not heaven. This is not where perfection exists. And so horrible things happen here that just should have never happened too. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to that because I just saw someone speak on that recently too, that some things just shouldn't happen, like a little girl, you know. And so that kind of is our takeaways. We talked about, you know, and then for our outro, we always want to invite you guys, if you made it an hour and a half.
I hope you stayed, but
I hope you stayed. But if we always want to invite you guys to give your feedback, you know, let us know what you think about Job, what you think about the things we're talking about. Add it to the comments, send us messages on our social media platforms, and prayer requests as well. If you ever have anything that you'd like us to pray about, whether publicly, if you would like us to tell our listeners, you know, if there are any, this prayer request, so that not only us and our families, but other people can be praying for.
It's just,
right. We can keep it anonymous. We can give whatever details you do or don't want to give, but you can also just say, hey, can you two pray about this for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
and
we both have our little prayer books, our prayer list, and
we try to keep each other updated on other, hey, I have this prayer request for this person.
Yep.
So anybody has any, we can add those in for you.
Yep.
And the other thing we wanted to mention, I think we're on the same page with this. I think it's one thing we didn't check in on, but following on social media, where should they go?
So if you'd like to follow us individually, you can. We can leave that linked in the description below. If you'd like to follow our Stupid Smart Studios, it has its own page. You can follow on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, right?
Yep.
Facebook.
Yep.
And YouTube. This, if you would like to see our pretty faces, if you would like to see us, we did actually record this video recording of this podcast. You can watch that on YouTube. We can post it to the Facebook too.
Yeah.
But you can actually watch this podcast in case you are just listening. We will have this post to all the popular places where you can listen to podcasts. I know it's going to like iHeartRadio and Spotify and Apple and all those places. So wherever you found us, thank you. Appreciate you joining in. Go ahead and follow our other pages. Like I said, Facebook, YouTube. Sometimes we'll do like little short clips on YouTube and on Facebook. We've talked about doing some little polls. You let us know what kind of stories you'd like to hear, what kind of stuff you'd like us to touch on. If you got a Bible verse you'd like to share with us, send it our way. We can do a whole discussion on it. If even if you got questions, like we're reading through the Bible together right now. And we just made it into Leviticus. We started in Genesis. We're going all the way through. But if you got a Bible verse that's like been stuck in your head and you're like, look, I need another viewpoint on that. Like, can you read this and tell me what you got from it? Because like I have somebody in my life that whenever they read the Bible and God tells them to read it over and over and over and they're just not getting it, they'll ask me, hey, can you read it? Bless you.
Thank you.
Even if it's just from somebody else reading it, maybe you'll catch it, or maybe you'll get it from our viewpoint. Maybe Holly's going to have something to say about it, or I'm going to have something to say about it that it really clicks with you at that point. So just if you got prayer requests, scripture requests, you got something going on in your life that you want to talk about, go ahead, send it our way. Send us a message. We do have an email if you'd like to follow us. Not follow us, but if you'd like to send us a message through there, it's going to be momsatthehelm at Gmail. I think we did gmail.com. We'll have everything linked below. We'll have the email, the social media accounts, all that kind of stuff. So check us out on YouTube and go to that description for everything that you're looking for. We will let you know also on the social media accounts when we're going to be posting. We'll probably try to post that morning when one's going to release. But I think we said the third Friday of the month. So every third Friday of the month, put it on your calendar.
Look
We
out
are
for one of our...
coming in, coming in hot. The moms at the helm are ready to go. So, I don't think we talked about a time yet. We'll get that all figured out and posted whenever we have like a set time and whatnot. But just once again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, for listening. If you stuck around this long, thank you.
God bless you.
Exactly. We are some talkers. We maybe in the future we can keep some a little short and sweet.
Yeah, it's a learning process. This is the first one, and this being so much of who we are, other ones are going to be
longer,
little discussions and games, and we'll get a hang of it.
Yeah, definitely. And if you'd like, whenever you go follow us on Stupid Smart Studios on YouTube, there is another podcast there that goes along with the Stupid Smart Studios. It is the All Stop Podcast, and that is our husband's. So
if you're curious, there you go. Go find those goofballs.
Go find them, watch them, go send them some love. I'm sure they would definitely appreciate it. But thank you so much for joining in with us, and we will be back soon.
See you soon.
Bye, everybody.